gives me his email. Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program, Studio Galaxy 473. And today is Saturday. Yes, Saturday. And the Galaxy Equalizers are here. Joshua and your brother Francis. But today we are a bit late. We had some technical difficulties and we had some personal challenges. So we regret being late, but we're happy to still be here, and we do hope that we are able to accommodate you, to arouse your interest, to provoke your argumentative mind. Because that's what we do. We want to provoke discussion. And we think today perhaps is correct to talk about tariff. Tariff and opportunities. When you have tariff, some people has put the hand on the head and ball. And sometimes when you have tariff, opportunities come. We believe that every time you have a disaster, every time you have challenge, when you have war, some people get rich.
Yep.
It's quite true, some people die
A
of
lot.
starvation, but others get rich.
Mm-hmm.
The worst thing to do when you have tariffs on exports in agriculture is to hold your head and bow.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst thing. Your best minds in the country, the people who produce in agriculture, they must see it as an opportunity. Remember the number to call is 2558. We always encourage you to share our program, Studio Galaxy 473 in Convero. Subscribe to it, like it. Give us a blight with the new kids on the block, and we provoke discussion. And this morning, you have with me our brother Joshua. We hope our brother Michael Baptiste be able to come in through using the technology or just calling in, or anybody else. Join us. We're talking about tariff and opportunities. When there's tariff, we don't believe you must hold your head and bow. We believe there are opportunities. Brother.
Good morning, everyone. Here in Grenada, diaspora worldwide. I'm happy to have this discussion this morning on agriculture. We zero in on tariff and the opportunities. We've had a lot of disruption in the world recently, mainly led by um, the United States President Donald Trump. His mantra is tariff is what's going to give the USA the cutting edge or balance his balance of payment deficit. But I see real opportunities in terms of what's going on for the Caribbean. We have been designed to be what I call an extraction economy. Not me that call it that, the academics. And that basically means an extraction economy. We grow the raw materials like banana, cocoa, nutmeg, etc., to give it to somebody else, and that person will then turn it into different products, and they will make the monster profit from it. Whereas we who are growing it will make little to nothing because they depend on us producing it cheap, so that they can make mega profit on it. So that's the economy we find ourselves in, an extraction economy designed really for the developed world. But I wish that the tariff that President Trump placed on us was something like 150%. Because if we had a tariff of 150% to send goods into the United States, it means that we would finally begin the road towards a degree of self-sufficiency. It's too easy for us to keep operating what Nazim Burke once called a 10% economy. We import everything and put 10% on it and sell it on to our consumers. I think time is really overdue for us to stop this nonsense, because all the tariff that when you go to the Ministry of Trade and you look at, you see it's designed to bring goods in, bring in cheap goods, and to defeat your local economy, defeat, Soursop. So rather than us using Soursop, which is supposed to be a unique product that helps with the prevention of a lot of cancer provoking agents in people, we just send it abroad. We extract it from the tree and we send it abroad. There's no research going on in Grenada in terms of soursop. We're not making any secondary soursop products. We're not making soursop powder. We're not making soursop drinks, really. A few of the vendor might make a few soursop drink, but we're not using the soursop for nutraceutical kind of medicines. We just, pick it from the tree, put it on the aeroplane, get it to America, let them use it. So that mindset, I think, with the tariff making it more expensive to bring into the United States, may get our soursop industry to start thinking about how can we do secondary processing in terms of soursop in Grenada? Because in Grenada, we have one of the highest rates of cancer. And we are a soursop producing island. Nevertheless, we don't care about how many Grenadians are dying of cancer in Grenville or in St. George's or, in St. David. We don't care. Get the soursop, get a big money for it, and send it abroad. So, I wish the tariff was 150% on things like soursop. That way, it will force us to actually go into secondary processing and develop our island and develop our product as we should have been doing for over 100 years now. But instead, we have this colonial system, the 10% economy that we have been designed for, grow the products and export it. It's time to change. We have to change. And it's not only the soursop, something simple as banana.
Before you leave Soursop,
Yeah.
you believe we people could make babale still?
Well, I firmly on 100, 200, 300% believe yes.
Right. So, but even if some people could make babale and you don't had to make it,
No.
but what percentage of the soursop we produce do you believe we consume in Grenada?
I think, if anything, maybe 0.5% of what we produce.
Less than 1%.
Less than 1%.
Less than 1% of the soursop we produce.
I don't even think 1%, because I was involved in the industry in terms of a World Bank project. And if I tell you the behavior of the people in terms of soursop is this: every little bit they can get, they want it export. They want the money. They're desperate for the money. They don't care about development of Grenada or this. Soursop is a get rich quick kind of product.
Who do you believe should take the lead if we are consuming less than 1% of the soursop we produce? Where will we start to increase the quantum we consume?
Well, I think the simple answer is about education, or it could be targets as well. Only like 80% can be exported, and then there's a range of stuff that you can make with soursop, from ice cream, to sorbet, all sorts of things that you can make.
But we're not making it.
But the incentive is not there. The money is in the export of soursop. You have to change the industry, in terms of people wanting to do products at home. So what the tariff does, the tariff is an inhibitor in terms of exports. So what will happen? Our bright people now will have to think, how can I make money at home? They might not think, well, how can I make money at home, and how can I kind of help with the health situation?
They may well cut down the soursop tree. I've heard a story that I would not venture to call name. But big agricultural czar, a big agricultural czar, you know who I'm speaking about. Plant about 2 acres of soursop, and he claimed they're tiffing him too much.
Oh God!
So he cut down all the soursop.
That is a real problem as well.
An agricultural czar, a man that is involved in the direction
Mm-hmm.
of a lot of the agricultural products
Mm-hmm.
that we produce,
Mm-hmm.
cut down all his source.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not a dunce man.
Mm-hmm.
He have a briefcase of certificate.
Yeah.
So if we do not target,
Mm-hmm.
if we do not be surgical
Mm-hmm.
about our education program in promoting greater consumption of Soursop,
Mm-hmm.
the farmers might just cut it down.
Mm-hmm. That
Babale was a nice drink once.
yeah.
But do you see? Well, you might have to go. You might have to go see that in an exhibition.
Mm-hmm.
When they have World Food Day
Mm-hmm.
exhibition,
Mm-hmm.
somebody make babale.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody say, "Oh, it's nice," and nobody make it again.
Yeah.
You cannot find it in supermarkets. You cannot find it in any
Yeah.
official functions and all that.
Yeah.
As we say, people use Soursop for ice cream,
Yeah.
and Soursop have a nice flavor in ice cream.
Yeah. And sorbet.
But how do we increase the consumption?
Yeah. It's
In yesteryear, Soursop was used in water, and the elderly people say it was cooling.
mm-hmm.
So particularly in the dry season,
Mm-hmm.
the poor people will cut up green Soursop
Yeah.
and put it in a jar,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to drink it,
Yeah.
and they clean it.
Yeah.
Soursop seeds is said to have negative impact on animals if it's consumed.
Mm-hmm.
But where are our agronomists?
Mm-hmm.
Where are our food scientists? What research is done on Soursop?
Mm-hmm.
Grenada is the only country in the region
In the world.
that can export fresh Soursop
Yeah.
to the US market.
In the world.
We cannot supply. The market is good. The government perhaps cut down on the management of pests in Soursop.
Mm-hmm.
Be that as it may, the 10 or 12 traders that are involved in the Soursop market will tell you the business is good.
Yeah.
The farmers that have the Soursop, they don't even have to harvest it. They sit down in the veranda home, individuals go and harvest Soursop, and they tell them how much they get,
Mm-hmm.
and they give them some money,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
satisfied. How we start to consume more Soursop,
Yeah.
particularly in light of the fact of the increased likelihood of tariff
Mm-hmm.
on Soursop. Joshua, how we start that?
Yeah, it's easy. If you look at watermelon,
Joshua, easy. Less than 1% consume
No,
Soursop.
this is an economic challenge, but it's easy in terms of increasing the consumption of
Tell
Soursop.
us.
You see how we do watermelon? You might go to Grenville one day and you'll see a truckload of watermelon. By the time you go back by that truck at 2:00, there's no watermelon left. The same way that we are slicing the watermelon and selling it, the same way we could slice the Soursop and sell it. And the Soursop has just as nice a flavor and sweetness as the watermelon, and probably even better because the Soursop flesh is more substantial, so it could be like a meal. So we just sell the Soursop in terms of like the watermelon slices. No time whatsoever, it's go. We have all this kind of secondary products that it can be used for, and we basically promote the product. We don't produce a lot of Soursop to say we produce a lot of Soursop and we need any major marketing company to come and market Soursop. People already know about the product of Soursop and the potential of it. People are not using the Soursop leaves to make tea as they should. But with a little encouragement, all of that could be done. I have no worry about local consumption of Soursop. I have no worry about regional consumption of Soursop. We have the whole Trinidad market in terms of Soursop export to there. And I'm talking about CARICOM because in CARICOM we're supposed to be a single market. We have to look at how we use tariff amongst ourselves. But my main goal and the opportunity that I see is that countries like Grenada have been neglected too long by our leaders and by our business people, and as well as our intellectual. Now, why I welcome the tariff is this: it gives us an opportunity to start the journey of self-sufficiency, be it in food, be it in economics, etc. We had to start that journey some way, and I encourage Trump to put 150% tariff on us.
Well, Donald Trump idea and policy is not wrong, but I think is the fact that he wants to take on everybody could have some more negative consequences.
Yeah.
But be that as it may, I think we're going to tell people what we mean when we say tariff. Because tariff is not a word that is used regular in our language. Tax.
It's a
tax is a word. So tariff is a tax or duty to be paid on a particular class of inputs or exports.
It makes the goods more expensive.
So we're talking about tariff on agricultural products. Everything that is agriculture. And we in Grenada is concerned because we export Soursop. We export cocoa. We export nutmeg. And we also export fish. That's the 4 main exports we have. And if a tax, a 10% tax is added on it, it could have the impact that it makes what the farmer gets get less.
Yeah.
So the Cocoa Association don't have us up a tree. And if they have to pay 10% more to export, that would come out of the gross profit.
It's likely to be 20% because there's a 10%. Is it a 10% tax on the boat if it was made in China? And the vast majority.
Well, they have to send boats that don't make in China.
The vast majority of cargo boats are made in China. The United States really is not a shipbuilding country. So
Holland, which other country? Norway.
China is the one. Shipbuilding has changed. It used to be at one time America. It used to be Holland, etc. But shipbuilding, like so many things,
used to make some little ship too. You know? Those kayak now they stop. Kayaku used to do some serious making of sheep, small boats or sheep or what.
Right now, go to Trinidad.
Kayaku, forget that. The kayak and then they say Kayaku have the most millionaires in any parish in Grenada is from Kayaku, you know. I don't know how true it is, but
probably. I know Carriacou is the richest parish in
they're not the rich and St. John. But the rich are obviously St. Andrews and St. Patrick's and St. David's and St. John.
Yeah, the tongue of St. George's and the parish of St. George.
And then you have to take out the tongue.
Yeah.
So even in Carriacou, they stop make boat. They hardly making boat again. They leave boat making for China. And Donald Trump is saying China, the trade union is not legal in China. China jailing people. They're locking up people. They have people in concentration camp. They don't have freedom of the press. And you want the United States to compete with China for the cost of goods. And all the Caribbean countries and other parts in the world buying from China. So he said tax, 10%. I don't know if he's going to reach to his stage because Trump, he said nothing. But he said if you tax him, he go tax you.
Yeah. But
so do we have tax on imports from the United States of America?
Yeah, we do.
Why?
And we always have. We have a trade imbalance with the United States.
So why we have tax on U.S. goods?
Well, taxes has traditionally been used by small developing states in order to pay for government services, pay for the port workers, pay for a lot of the essential
So we were
services.
not paying tax to export Soursop.
No, we once, but now
But while United States was paying tax to send things in Grenada.
Well, you can
Yes.
you can argue that each country has its own tax regime, and tax regime quite often have been used differently depending on your industry. So, for example, if you have say a poultry industry in Canada, and you want to make sure that poultry industry that's employing about 2 or 3 million people is not affected and cause chaos to your country, you would put a substantial tax on it. So I think the tax in Canada on poultry is 200%. That is one of the things America has complained
So
about.
the purpose that countries put tax
many purposes
sometimes is to protect their local industry.
Yeah.
So the gentleman used a good example called Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Say if Canada poultry industry, if you're bringing in things poultry in Canada, you might have to pay about 200% tax.
Mm-hmm.
That is to protect the Canada poultry industry.
Mm-hmm.
Because the United States may able to sell poultry to Canada cheaper than what Canada is buying it.
Yeah.
Just like in Grenada,
Mm-hmm.
we have a poultry industry
Mm-hmm.
we're fighting to build.
Yeah, we can't build it.
Well, we're trying.
Yeah.
You have to have hope.
Yeah.
But the poultry exporters could bring poultry from Brazil
Mm-hmm.
much, much cheaper than what we could produce it here.
Yeah.
Unless we seriously subsidize it. We have two poultry industry, new kids on the block in the poultry industry.
Mm-hmm.
And Joshua always speak about that.
Mm-hmm.
We are saying that the government of Grenada must subsidize the feed to make these two mega companies, and mega in terms of Grenada standard,
Yeah.
When a man have 10 acres of land here, we call him big farmer.
Yeah.
When you have 10 acres of land, yonder they don't even talk about it.
Yeah.
So we believe that the government must subsidize the feed. So to make the poultry industry here more profitable. So if the government subsidize the feed, we could discourage the traders in Grenada, Huggins and Bulk-Buy and Country Cold Stone them. We could discourage them from buying from Brazil, and they'll buy from the local poultry people for distribution. We want the average man understand. When we talk about opportunities and tax, what it means. We are saying, the United States is saying, you're protecting your market from the United States goods. So if poultry is coming down here and we let a free for all, the United States could send poultry here, we may get a pound of chicken for 25 cents. Because some of the chicken we like down here, the average American may not want it. We want we back a neck and we chicken wings and we full neck and the chicken bam bam and all them kind of things. We eating that.
Yeah.
Other places that might go in the knocker's yard.
Yeah.
Or it might go to make food
Chicken feed.
for chicken feed and for animals.
Mm-hmm.
So our people have to understand, when we speak about tariff, is a tax on goods, and it's likely to make the goods more expensive. So what are the opportunities? So you see how we talk about tax and tariff. You people have to get used to the word of tariff. I know it's not a word that is common in our day-to-day thinking. But tariff and tax on imports or export.
Yeah.
and we say they are opportunists. Joshua.
Yeah, I think we have big opportunity. This is, to me, is similar to a COVID moment when we had to kind of be more self-reliant during the COVID period. But I think this is a great opportunity for light manufacturing. It's a great opportunity for secondary processing. I think it's been too easy for us in terms of the design of our island to just be importers, whereby 1% of the population, they have the resources, they have the working capital, and they keep importing, but they don't invest in terms of the local economy, in terms of production and change in the economy. They can make just as much profit in terms of investing in the local economy by invested in agriculture and invested in secondary processing, creating employment for people, especially the youth, and also keeping the money circulation in Grenada. What is so bad about that? What is it so bad and that you can't invest in the country that you live in? I
Joshua.
know it's easy in terms of making profit and just kind of looking at the margin in terms of import. But surely, as a human being and as a nationalist, you have a responsibility for the development of your island as well.
Joshua, fish. We
Yeah.
export fish to the US market.
And we should continue.
And the fishermen getting a good price, whatever that is,
Mhm.
for the fish.
Mhm.
But if tax is placed on the export of fish,
Mhm.
sometimes the fisherman
Mhm.
could get less money
Yeah.
because the trader would take the tax in from the profit, and then the fisherman may get much less, that
Mhm.
it is not
Yeah.
very economical for them to continue fishing.
Yeah.
Joshua, what are the opportunities
Mhm.
for us because of the tax in fish?
Yeah, there is tremendous opportunity in terms of fish. I spent time in New York City buying fish. Some of the fish are selling for $27 US a pound of fish. We sell our fish for what?
$10.
Yeah, EC. That's nothing. The margin that's being made in fish, we have to kind of think differently. There's no reason why we can open a shop in Brooklyn and sell our fish or export all our fish. We don't have like a
You still
major.
have to pay the tax.
Yeah, major. But if you get in $27 US a pound for your fish over there, and you're selling it from here for about $13 EC.
So you're saying, irrespective of the tax on fish,
Yeah.
we will be able to survive.
Yeah, and survive well.
Should
But
Grenadians be encouraged to consume more fish?
yeah, of course. Oh gosh, we talked about this before, Mr. Pierre. My blood pressure is going up. We talked about saltfish, and I have to confess, I like saltfish, and I like the taste.
Most people like saltfish,
But fresh
they don't
fish is so much better.
and some people don't care how it is.
Yeah.
Even women and all now
Yeah,
seems to like saltfish.
yeah, yeah.
So definitely continue. We could salt more fish.
Yeah, we could do it ourselves because
Could we get cod fish in the supermarket easy?
no, I don't think that's so easy. But there's a way of doing the fish in terms of solar
What
panels.
about smoked fish?
Yes, even that we don't do that here.
We have to develop a taste for these things.
Yeah, and in Dominica, I know they do a lot of smoked fish, and it's not hard to smoke. So these are the opportunity, Mr.
And
Pierre.
one of the best ways for your people to develop taste,
Mhm.
and it's going to take 5-10 years,
Yeah,
is to start to serve smoked fish in the schools.
yeah, absolutely.
So once a week,
Mhm.
you offer
Yeah.
schools buy smoked fish
Mhm.
and serve in the school.
Yeah.
Once a week,
Yeah, we have to.
schools serve rabbit meat.
Yeah.
Once a week,
Yeah.
schools serve salted meat.
Yeah, we
And
have.
in that way, After 10 years,
Mhm.
you may see a gradual increase
Yeah.
in the consumption of fish because you have invested in taste.
Yeah, we have to re-engineer that kind of taste bud in the kids. And you're right about the way
Children
to
taste
do
bud
it.
now is for salt and pepper,
Yeah,
snacks,
yeah.
salter and hotter the pepper, and they get high blood pressure, sugar, diabetes, and they
Mhm.
get fat, 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 fat.
Yeah, yeah,
You see some little children now, they look at them foul and them boilers and them.
yeah.
Bam bam big
Mm.
children, fat, fat, fat,
Yeah.
they can't.
Yeah, so there's also the big opportunity in terms of Grenada to process the fish and sell it in the shops or supermarket, etc. We don't really do that here, but there's a real opportunity to do that. And the tariff, Mr. Pierre, I sincerely believe that. I know this morning I've been speaking loosely, which I don't normally do, but and so
Sometimes it's a good thing because the tax and tariff seems to shake up the whole world.
yeah, well,
But we strongly believe
Mhm.
that there are opportunities.
Yeah, a real opportunity, especially for Grenada, which is designed, to import goods and to sell its raw material. This is an opportunity for us now to rethink how we're doing things. It's an opportunity for us to get into light manufacturing. It's an opportunity for us to get into secondary processing. And one of the things that we have to do is that we have to hold our leaders to account. I heard some talk recently, by the PS and the Prime Minister talking about increasing production in agriculture. And on the surface, it sounds great. Yes, let's produce increased production in agriculture. But the Ministry of Agriculture do not have basics data on how much agricultural product we produce every year. You can call them tomorrow and you could ask them or call them on Monday and ask them how much sweet potatoes we produce in 2024. They can't tell you. They don't have the data. So how could you talk about increasing production
Well,
when you don't have basic data on what you produce? So who's going to tell you your production went up?
but maybe they're just saying that so to please their supporters, not necessarily because they have any intention of doing it.
Well, Mr. Pierre,
It's an intellectual discourse
I think
that
it's
lack practicality.
yeah, I think it's a wish and a hope, and I think it's a sincere and genuine wish and hope. But I think the ministry has to do better. We 51 years, Mr. Pierre, in terms of independence. You mean in 51 years the ministry cannot have a data collection system to know how much local production it's
I
producing?
wonder if you go and ask them, Joshua,
Mhm.
what percentage of cocoa that our people consume?
Mhm.
What you think is it?
Yeah, I don't think they have that data.
Well, what do you think? What percentage of cocoa
that
Grenadians consume?
I would say in terms of cocoa, it's rising. Cocoa ball is right, but I would say about 5%.
Right. Well, okay. We could work with 5%.
Mm-hmm.
So all the cocoa we produce in Grenada,
Mm-hmm.
we consume about 5% of the cocoa.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We produce cocoa, as Joshua like to say, extraction economy
Yeah.
for other people to buy.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now, why are we doing that?
Mm-hmm.
5%, not 55.
Mm-hmm.
If it was consuming 55% of the cocoa,
Mm-hmm.
and they say cocoa does make you romantic,
Yeah, but it's good for your heart and
and
the
it's good for your
arteries.
heart.
Yeah, it's a healing food.
So maybe that's why they're cutting out so much
Yeah,
men food.
and
They don't using enough cocoa.
yeah, it's good for the heart, but it's also very good in terms of the research for your libido.
It's good for circulation too.
Yeah, well, that's why.
But we don't know.
The-
Because they say cocoa good for love, good for your heart. You
yeah,
could rub your skin with cocoa.
yeah.
We used to take cocoa and put in your hair for it to
Yeah,
thing
lots
up.
of lots
You
of
used to take
use.
cocoa and use as a grease. So
Yeah,
we used to put it in cartwheel.
yeah.
You could extract the starch or whatever from cocoa.
Mhm.
But we consume less than 5% of the cocoa
Yeah.
we produce.
Yeah.
So now the United States decide to put tariff,
Mhm.
and don't believe because the United States saying this thing, other countries are doing it too, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
They decide to put tariff,
Mhm.
so it's likely, it's highly possible
Mhm.
that we could get less money for your cocoa.
Mhm.
How much less money could we sustain
Mhm.
before we abandon the cocoa field?
Mhm.
Unless we dramatically,
Mhm.
seriously
Mhm.
increase the consumption of cocoa.
Mhm.
And Joshua, how are we going to increase the consumption of cocoa?
A lot of it, starts with what you talked about earlier on in terms of re-engineering our young people taste bud with the saltfish, etc. It's the same process.
Saltfish might be easier to
Yeah,
yes,
it's the same
cocoa.
process in terms of cocoa. How do we kind of get it into our menu? And cocoa is such a lovely drink. We should be drinking that in the morning and evening because it's actually a health food, believe it or not. It's good for the circulation, heart control, and it's very, very, very good in terms of
It's good
health.
for the veins.
Yeah, it's very good in terms of the vein, and more and more kind of data and research is coming out to support that. Now, I have changed my behavior in terms of cocoa based on what
The veins at the clock.
yeah, I drink a lot of cocoa now. I drink cocoa in the morning. I
I
drink
want to
cocoa in
join
the
you, Joshua.
I drink cocoa in the evening. Before, I used to drink coffee in the morning. Coffee, coffee, coffee. But I've switched to cocoa and the cocoa balls. And I can't get enough cocoa balls to buy. There's a shortage of cocoa balls. So those of
Because we
you...
consume
Mm-mm.
less than 5% of the cocoa we produce.
Yeah.
And I think the price on the world market has dropped a bit.
Oh,
So
gosh.
with the addition of a 10% tax
Mm-hmm.
on export,
Mm-hmm.
we're more likely to have a lower price for cocoa
Mm-hmm.
in the Grenadian market.
Mm-hmm.
So no opportunities must come.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
we make more chocolate?
Yeah.
Do we make more chocolate for local consumption?
Yeah.
How do we encourage our people to use more cocoa?
Yeah.
We could get a small packet of coffee for $1 or less, but the minimum we might get cocoa for is $10.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have cocoa in smaller packets
Mm-hmm.
that we could readily use,
Mm-hmm.
that may help to
Mm-hmm.
increase the amount of cocoa we men consume.
Yeah.
You notice how they're cutting out man food now. What? I hardly see women food coming out.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if it's a
Diabetes.
circulation problem.
Yeah.
Or men don't take care of themselves.
Yeah. Cocoa is good for
They say
circulation.
men will bring the wife to the doctor, they bring the women to the doctor, and they go in the ram shop. And then whap! The doctor cut out the food.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we spend some time? What ideas? How do we provoke the discussion? How do we encourage people to increase the consumption of cocoa?
Yeah, the basic bit that we need to do is the awareness raising, the education, etc. And the most effective way is to start with the schools and the menu, etc. But I think the biggest thing in terms of cocoa and the conversation or the narrative is the mere fact that it's good for you.